Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. And we're zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question we just got in that is, how do you protect yourself when you are experiencing vulnerability? So that's a great viewer question, and I'm going to dive into that. But before we get started, I just want to give a huge shout out to those who have recently donated to the channel. Thank you so much for your contributions and support. We are entering into the season of giving back. So absolutely positively, if the channel has been a positive influence, please do click the link below and participate and make a donation to the channel. We would love to hear from you. So thank you so much. And so we're zooming in and focusing in now really in more depth in terms of understanding the role of vulnerability and how to protect yourself after you have been in a relationship that has been damaging, where you've been with someone who is highly manipulative, someone who is a pathological liar, someone who has exploited you or really caused you to become very submissive, meek, and weak, and really sort of minimizing of yourself as a counterforce to their domineering, manipulative, aggressive, or hostile personality trait or characteristics, whether you want to call them narcissistic, psychopathic. The labels really don't matter right now. So she's wondering, how do you protect yourself when you're feeling vulnerable? So it's to understand that what vulnerability means. Vulnerable comes from the Latin vulnus, wound, and it basically then goes to Latin vulnari, to wound, and then vulnerabilis, the word vulnus, which means wound, or vulnari, to wound. So in other words, someone who is vulnerable is susceptible to physical, emotional attack or harm. They are susceptible and open to being wounded. So it's very important for you to understand exactly what vulnerable means and the cause that's created this effect within you. So vulnerable means you're open to attack, or you're in need of a special care or protection because of your situation. You are in need of a special protection. So this protection really is created and needs to be created by you. Just as if you were to care for someone who is older, who needs special arrangements, specific circumstances so they can get around in their environment, you would not put them in harm's way. So you need to really look at your life or situations where you might be encountering this person that you are in need of special protection. There is a wound, there's a bruise, and there's this feeling of uneasiness, tension, anxiety. This all is leading and symptomatic of the emotional wounds and pain that you are feeling that has been inflicted by this relationship dynamic. And the wound can cause a scar, or it can be reopened, it can be retriggered, it can last many, many years, many decades. We don't want it to, last, your life. We don't want you to be walking around feeling like a wounded soul, shaking and quivering, afraid to go out and live your life, afraid of the reactions of others, afraid if someone is going to like you or not, afraid if someone's going to approve of you or not, or what they're going to say, and that you don't know how to handle it. So all this is stemming from the vulnerability, meaning that you have to understand the root cause has created this effect or this symptom within you. And it is to understand that you need to protect yourself by doing the work, by getting into the feelings that are creating and causing this feeling of weakness or instability or lack of being able to handle things in ways that they should come up, in terms of looking ahead and feeling like, I will not be able to manage this person or this situation. So it is to do the work means you have to come to terms with that feeling and really face it square on. What do I mean by that? you need to ask yourself, what is this? What am I fearful of? What am I fearful of? Am I afraid of this person looking at me? Am I afraid of that I won't be able to talk to them? And if so, let's just break it down in the micro event. Am I afraid of this person looking at me? Well, what does that really mean for you? What does it mean? What happens if someone were to look at you, this person? What would happen if you were not, if you were just to walk by and not say anything? What does this mean? Does it mean that you're lesser than? What is the meaning that you're giving this situation that's giving you this vulnerability? What is the meaning? Is it that I don't have love? I don't have a family? I don't have anyone to protect me? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. So open that up. Open up the situation and see exactly what's causing you to feel meek. I'm afraid I won't have anything to say. Fear is false evidence, fear appearing real. So, of course, when you look at it now and you can say, of course, I have something to say. My vocal cords work, and I can say whatever I need to protect myself. And particularly with those people who you feel are presenting an obstacle or a block, you can always use the word "and next." Also, moving on, anyway. These are words that can lead you on and out of a painful situation and into a better situation. And you need to have the tools before you find yourself in the situation. So, for example, if you're feeling vulnerable in the world because you've experienced this relationship and you've been so wounded, you need to learn how to protect yourself, not only with language, but you need to have it done with self-talk and really get in and basically bust out the fear. You need to ask yourself questions in those very uncomfortable states. Why am I so afraid? Why am I so anxious? Why am I so depressed? And listen for the answer. And why do I feel so unprotected? Why do I feel so exposed? I feel that I'm so out there. I feel that nobody will get me. I feel that I won't have anyone to talk to. I fear that this person's going to get away with this. I fear that this person's going to continue to hurt others. Look at how does that really impact you? So once you are able to get it out, you're able to embrace it and integrate it as part of yourself. Because if you are constantly going around feeling vulnerable, you're basically you're trying to push your own feelings away. You're trying to push yourself away. You want to pull yourself in and embrace yourself. You want to ask these questions so that you can get it out of your system. And the recovery journal is very good for this. So, once again, why do I feel so vulnerable? Let's just go through an example. Why do I feel so vulnerable? I feel so exposed. I feel like I feel that I appear shamed. I feel embarrassed. I feel less than. I feel small. Okay, let's just take this one bite at a time. You feel so exposed. What does that mean? It means that you have not had an experience where you've been able to meet with this person and be able to have communication that is free-flowing and comfortable for you. You feel so exposed. You feel so open. And you feel so ashamed. Shame is it all really boils down to feeling either lonely or that you have not embraced this part of yourself. So saying then, okay, I feel like I can't have communication here. And so then the antidote to that is, well, of course I can have communication here. My vocal cords are working. And so what words I'm going to use in that situation? If you are in an encounter with someone who is manipulative and you have to interface with, then you can use the words next, anyways, moving on, as I was saying, as I was doing, and move on. So you don't have to acknowledge this person, but if you need to just, acknowledge in your own heart that you need to kind of come within and protect yourself within. So protection meaning not putting yourself in situations where you are constantly feeling exploited, unhappy, and triggered. So to protect yourself means, okay, where can I seat myself that is optimal for me? Where can I live in a place that's optimal for me? What kind of relationships can I develop that are optimal for me? How can I heal this wound so it's not continually being triggered? It is to understand that it is so important for you to get the cause that has created the effect of this weakness and turn it into your strength. You know, this weakness has really taught me to be strong by. This wound has really taught me to be strong by. And so you're flipping it around. In other words, this feeling of shame has really taught me to be strong because it has shown me that only my assessment of myself and my heart is all that matters. It's not what other people constantly judge me about, because that is the creation of shame, saying that you're not good enough. You should be you shouldn't have those feelings. It's to be disapproved of. And so I approve. That lesson has taught me that all I need to do is approve of myself, and that is enough. So it boils it down to the ultra simple. The only one's approval I need is my own, and that is enough. So when you do that, then you then are facing the shame and you're liberating it. So you're no longer controlled by it. So to move out of vulnerability is to be able to face those core feelings very simply and ask yourself, why am I feeling so afraid? Why am I feeling so anxious? Why am I feeling so nervous? Why am I feeling so depressed? Why am I feeling so triggered? And go into the feelings. You yourself have that internal dialogue so that then you can get to know the root and then turn it into the opposite. So let's just do another quick example. Why do I feel so triggered and afraid? Let's just say it's around this person who has been very bossy, very pushy, has tried to been an opportunist and is taking, take. Okay, so and when you're around this person, you become very agitated. You become very triggered. You feel very uncomfortable. Why do I feel so uncomfortable? Well, I'm afraid this person is going to get all the attention and they're going to look like the life of the party and I look like I am a nobody. Is this really true? Am I really a nobody? Of course. I'm not a nobody. I'm a somebody. I have all sorts of accomplishments in my life, and I am present here today, and I am a somebody. So do you see how these answers start blowing out your fears? And so what about this individual triggers me? What is really the problem here? I'm afraid that they are going to overpower me and they're going to be opportunists and they're going to take all the love away from me. I'm afraid that they're going to take all the contacts. I'm afraid that they're going to direct everything and leave me empty-handed. Is that really the case? Am I really empty-handed here? Are they really going to be opportunists and take everything? And if they did, well, what would I do? What can I say? Hey, that does not belong to you. You need to give that back. In other words, what can you verbalize? What can you communicate in 5 to 15 words that will help you carefront this person so that they are not overwhelming of you and your feelings? So you need to kind of go through these feelings and do the work and so you don't feel vulnerable, you don't feel exposed, you don't feel open to the repeated wounds because you've healed over, you've got some thick skin. You literally need to get some thick skin and allow this to mature over time. So I'm afraid that this person will get in the ear of so-and-so and then I will be shut out. Okay, let's just say that is the trigger. and no one will listen to me. Is that really going to happen? Are they really going to become deaf? Are they really going to lose their phone number so I will, not lose contact? Is that really what's going to happen? Or can I really speak up? Can I really put a foot down and, state some things that makes me uncomfortable and get them out in the open? It seems like you have a power struggle every time you're in this situation. Anyways, moving on, there's no power struggle needed here. So it's a way for you to confront, and then anyways, in moving on, there is no here. There is no here. There is no anxiety about that here. There's no tension about that here. There's no need for that here. Anyways, moving on, there's no need to be bossy here. Moving on, and then using this language so it can help you confront and then move on. You need to use the language so that you aren't feeling exposed and feeling like you can't confront this, because vulnerability is to feel wounded. It's to feel open and that you don't have resourceless, like you don't have any tools. You do need to employ the tools. You do need to learn how to protect yourself, especially through body language. If you really need protection, then you really need to have that, understand what gives you a sense of feeling protected. Is it a medallion? Is it a cross? Is it a scarf? Is it a hat? Is it a jacket? Is it a pair of boots? Is it a smile? Is it a flower in your pocket? What really helps you to feel protected? Get to know yourself and what causes you to feel strength. Is it having a companion? Is it knowing that you can do it alone and that it is okay alone? Oftentimes people they've fragmented all these bits and parts of themselves that when they go into situations, they feel wounded. You need to integrate it and incorporate it within and feel strong within and have all your senses aligned, but yet to the point so that you're still sharp and you can become aware of the disharmony, the incongruence, and as well as the cognitive dissonance between what is going on, so you can see things clearly and know that you can see through oftentimes the person's persona. You can see through the anxiety. You can see through the depression. You have the power to do that, but you need to be able to ask these questions and really it helps to get them out so that you're not walking around with them. But people become so addicted to the anxiety that they perpetuate it, and then they create situations that trigger so that they're in more anxiety. In other words, they're so afraid that they create more fear, and they create new fear in relationships, and they just keep repeating it. They keep repeating that fear state, that anxiety state, rather than breaking the addiction. The best way to break the addiction to feeling vulnerable is to ask yourself these questions. What am I feeling so vulnerable about? And what am I really so fearful about? And then listen for your own answers, and then turn them into the lessons and the positivity and alchemize them so that you can then give yourself the contrary that helps you to feel protected and well put, well centered, and then allow the good to be attracted into your space so that you're not vulnerable and opening up vulnerability to others who don't deserve your goodness. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out.